This is Arts Alive. I'm Linda Philippi. My guests today are Kim Herbst and Donna Gentry, and they're with us from the Chehalem Repertory.
Chehalem Players Rep.
Chehalem Players Rep in
CPR.
Newburgh. CPR, that's right. Just remember CPR. Okay. Well, welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
And we're going to talk about the production that's opening soon called Betrayal.
Correct.
Okay. Well, why don't you just take it away?
Betrayal was written by Harold Pinter, and it's actually based on a true story. He had a long affair with his best friend's wife. And it's a classic, and it's a love triangle, but the twist is that it's told backwards in time. So you begin with the end of the affair, and you watch the show take place, and at the end of the show is the beginning of the affair.
I just have to say this. Not only was he a schmuck, but he was a double schmuck because he wanted to make a profit off it.
Absolutely.
I mean, really? How tacky is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a classic. It's considered a classic, and the words are fantastic. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Well, and I think because he draws on his own real experience, it's very true to life.
Yeah.
Of course.
Awkwardly, painfully,
Hideously.
deliciously so.
Hideously
yes.
so.
Okay.
Hideously
You're
so.
directing, you're starring.
Yes.
Is that the way it goes?
Yep.
Okay, so how did you guys decide to do this one?
We were trying to come up with our season, and I had seen a production of Betrayal years ago with Liev Schreiber and Juliette Binoche and John Slattery. And it never left me. There were moments of that show that never left me, and I thought, oh gosh, one day I'd really like to give the audience the same experience that I had watching it. It was brilliant. And even though you know what's happening, it's still a surprise when you get to the end of the show. You just sit there. So it was wonderful, and it's perfect for Kim. She's the right age, the right perfect actress for it. So
Okay. Now, Kim, have you done a lot of acting?
I have, actually. I grew up here in the Valley in Newburgh, acting my whole life, and then I went away to Los Angeles, and I earned my BFA in acting, and I worked and acted down there for years, and then got married and had kids and came back up here to the Valley. So I'm getting back to it, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, what have you done most recently prior to this?
Well, the last show we did actually was a show that Donna and I wrote together called Two Men Performing CPR. And in it, we played men.
I was Buddy.
Yes.
He was Nettie.
Yes.
And everything took place in this bar named Shenanigans.
That must have been fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was amazing.
In the
And then
first half, we were old men.
Second half, we were young men. And then that one, I was Seamus.
And I was Patrick. And I had a mullet and a goatee. It was
And I had a soul patch.
tremendous fun.
And really bad hair. So we talked about my really bad hair quite often. And I lived in my mother's basement. And the photos are absolutely mind-blowing. So on Facebook, Chehalem Players Rep on Facebook, you can see what we look like as men.
Oh, that's fun. I can't wait to see. I'm going to go home and look it up. So let's talk about Chehalem Players Rep a little bit, and tell me about how it came to be and what's going on with that.
So Donna and I met. We were on the board together for Willamette Shakespeare, and she had moved from New York, and I from California, and both actresses. And we just bonded over our love of theater, and we thought, you know what, we love Shakespeare, and we would love to do some more contemporary works. And so we thought, let's dive in, and that's what we did. We formed it last year, and we had 3 shows our first season, and we're going to have 4 shows this season. This is our second season.
Now, where do you perform?
We're at the Chehalem Cultural Center. They have a small theater that they call the Central Stage, but we call it the Black Box Theater because it is indeed a little black box. It seats about 40 to 50 people.
Oh, it's really small.
It's tiny.
Okay, wow.
And we like that. And so we like small casts, intimate stories. And so everything that we've done so far, I think our biggest cast has been 5 people.
Yeah, well, you won't be doing it like Oklahoma or anything any day
No.
soon. But that's really cool because you can do probably, edgier works or more offbeat, things that maybe aren't performed as often because, that's such an intimate venue.
Absolutely.
And that's our mission statement, that we're bringing cutting-edge theater to the Valley.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
See how I just tapped right into
You
that.
did.
Absolutely.
You knew it immediately.
Cool. Okay, and Donna, I saw you last summer at a Women of Willamette event when it was a very, very hot day, and you were very, very funny.
Well, thank you. That's
Talk
very
a
sweet.
little bit about that. You were doing a little stand-up. And
I
a little,
was, and I just did some stand-up at the Red Ridge Farms, actually, about a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks ago. I started doing stand-up in 1978, so I'm really dating myself, back in New Orleans. And once you get the bug for that, it just doesn't go away. And so when I moved to New York, I kept it up there. And my problem here is that well, I shouldn't say my problem, but when we have a show, especially when we have our first show of the season, it's usually a comedy. So I try to tack on about 20 or 30 minutes of comedy at the end of the show.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and it helps. And so it gives me a chance. But the problem is by the end of 2 weeks is when I'm really good, because I've had a few times to rehearse. Because you really need an audience to
You really
rehearse
do,
it.
yeah.
So, by the time it gets good, it's the last night. So
Yeah, you don't really know what's funny until you hear somebody laugh.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or how it's going to work out.
Yep. And you might have to hone the joke a little differently. So, but my husband was also a stand-up comic, so he's a good help to me with that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
good. So you get the feedback from him. Now, I know that you brought some photos, so maybe we can have Jacob run the photos and you can talk about them a bit. So we'll see what happens. Here we go.
So this is from our production last spring,
Okay.
May of 2012, and it is Molly Sweeney. This is another production that I saw when I was living in New York with Jason Robards. And it's the story of a blind woman. It's written by Brian Friel. He also wrote Dancing at Lunasa. And this scene is Frank. And Frank is the husband of Molly Sweeney. Molly Sweeney is blind, but there is a new procedure that could be performed and that would give her the ability to see. And her husband has made her his latest project, and this is a scene with Jake Rossman. And here is Kim playing Molly Sweeney, and I believe she is looking at cornflowers for the first time, and you can actually speak to what's happening for you in that scene.
Yeah, so she talks a lot about growing up with her father and him walking her through the garden, and he describes cornflowers to her, and she only knows them in her mind, and she finally gets her sight back, and the first time she is able to see what they actually look like, and they turn out to be this massive disappointment. She says they're not at all what I thought they were.
Oh, really?
And it's heartbreaking, actually.
Wow.
That is Jim Halliday, who played Dr. Rice, and it was only three people in the cast, and they speak separately. So even though their lives overlap and their stories overlap, it's told in a monologue format. And everyone spoke with an Irish accent for this one.
Oh, really?
So it was lovely.
Did you have a dialect coach, or did they just figure it out?
No, I actually have a good ear for accents, believe it or not, so if something false is happening, we'll get them working on it themselves.
So everybody channeled the Lucky Charms leprechaun.
Pretty much.
I like it. Okay, good. Okay.
No, it was really spot on. So this is Jake Rossman, who plays Frank, her husband, and Molly, and this is the scene, I believe, when they are dating and they decide to get married. He asks her to get married. Yeah, and this is curtain call because they actually never touch during the performance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and it was a very simple set, and we're doing the same thing with Betrayal. Betrayal is a very stark set, very simple. We just have a few props to suggest a change of venue from a pub to a hotel room to someone's home. So,
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, well, I would think in such a small space, I mean, you really can't do a lot. A sort of a gesture more than like a big staircase, for example, because really there's no room.
well, we did quite the bar room for shenanigans.
you?
I have to say, our set decorator is Kathleen Buck. And
Oh, I
don't
know Kathleen,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I don't know where Kathleen got this connection, but she came in with neon signs,
Oh, how
and
cool.
she had 80 bottles of liquor that we put on shelves.
Really?
And
And a life-size Ham's
Ham's
bear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great.
and I was going to say one of those, you remember those old mirrors from the 70s with the beer mirrors, you know?
She had one of those
Yeah.
as well.
We had those.
Yes,
We had
Oh, my
those.
goodness.
So the bar for shenanigans was,
Okay, that was fun.
yeah,
Wow.
that was fun.
Well, I mean, this is a really great thing. So now let's talk. Are you taking subscribers? I mean, is that how it works? People can buy season tickets, or?
We haven't gotten to season tickets yet. However, we do use Eventbrite.
Okay.
So Chehalem Players Rep is our website name, and on the website you can go and hit a link for the current show, choose which performance you want to attend, pay right there, and it's all done for you. Show up the night of the show.
Wonderful. And I know you said you're working toward a nonprofit status.
We are indeed. We're hoping that we have that by spring.
And when you have that, just so you know, you can also advertise on this website. You can, email your information in, and they'll have that.
We would love it.
Yeah. So now, you two met just last year?
No.
No, we met
4 years ago.
4 years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
It's been a while then.
Yeah.
And this has been percolating for a while.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I'm probably going to put us on the spot here, but the other thing that we have in mind that I would really like to see happen in the Valley is a Fringe Festival. So that's going to take a couple of years of planning.
Okay, what is a Fringe Festival?
A Fringe Festival is everything in the area, so everything around Newburgh that would go into the wine region. Every possible venue would have either music, performance.
Oh, I think that's great.
Anything that you can possibly think of.
Yes.
And so performers from all over the country descend for a weekend or 2 weeks, depending on how we set it up.
perfect.
And so we were just getting rolling on that. And they would descend on the Valley, and you would have 2 weeks of nonstop performance here.
Oh my gosh, that's fabulous.
It would be pretty great.
Yeah.
And you could see everything from, a one-person show to Shakespeare to anything. I mean, music.
So
live
the
music,
idea is
yeah.
that probably, no one person could see it all. There's so much, but you can pick and choose the things that kind of like the International Film Festival or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like what appeals to you.
Exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's
that's
We have big ideas for our Valley. We love the
I
Valley.
think that's great, actually. I mean, why not? There's so many talented people here, and heaven knows there's a lot of wineries and venues. there's a lot of space to put
Absolutely.
entertainment.
I think
for
I've hit all of them, so yeah.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah, I love living in wine country. That was actually something that drew us here. We specifically wanted to be in wine country, so when we started looking around, that's how we ended up here. My husband's from Portland originally.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Interesting. Well, let's go back to Betrayal, okay, because we don't have a whole lot more time. So let's talk about that again, and you can give me the dates and times. And
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Betrayal opens at the end of this month, and Donna's
March
I'm
28th.
knee deep into memorization,
Sorry.
so Donna has to give the dates.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. We open March 28th, which is a Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, our performances are at 7 p.m. Because that Sunday is Easter, we've thrown in a 2 p.m. matinee on that Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So 28th, 29th, 30th, 7 p.m., the 30th, a 2 p.m. matinee. Following week, April 7th, 4th through the 7th. Thursday through Saturday, we have 7 p.m. performances, and then Sunday we have a 2 p.m. matinee.
Okay.
And it's really a gorgeous show. So
And so you're going to do it just the 2 weekends?
just the 2 weekends.
Okay, so but
We have
but
8
it's like 8 performances. Okay. Well, then that kind of narrows the window. So
It
people need to,
does.
and because there are so few tickets, so really it holds 40 people, did you say?
We have 45 per night. So
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
so that means if you want to see this show,
Get in there.
exactly.
right.
Okay, that's good.
And it's beautiful, and it's the equivalent of. I mean, you don't have to drive all the way to Portland. We've got it right
Oh,
here.
that's absolutely true. There's so much in the valley. It's just amazing. And it sounds like you've got something else in the works. You've got other shows lined up.
We do.
We do. This summer we're going to be doing a comedy called The Sugar Bean Sisters,
Okay.
which is a Southern Gothic comedy. And then in the fall we're going to be doing God of Carnage, and that will be directed by a guest artist.
Ted DeChatelet,
Ted
who's a
DeChatelet.
teacher
Oh,
at Western University.
Okay.
So he'll come in with God of Carnage in
Great.
October.
Okay. Well, ladies, it's been wonderful to have you today, and I'm thrilled, and I can't wait to see the production. I'm going to make sure I'm first in line to get my ticket.
Oh, Linda, thank you so much for
Thank
having
you
us.
so
We
much for
so
having us,
appreciate
Linda.
it.